Hello. Hi everyone. Um, sorry, I was trying to figure out how to stop this camera from zooming in, and it occurred to me when I was uploading this video onto YouTube that it makes the quality quite terrible. But apparently I didn't fix it. Anyway, doesn't really matter. It's just very zoomed in. It's unattractive. Anyway, and then you can't see like my lights and my decorations, but it's okay. It's fine. It's Tuesday at 7 o'clock. It's time for us to chat about books. I got my tea for today, which is delicious. This is a decaf vanilla tea with peppermint, peppermint tea, but also to emphasize, it has little crushed up bits of candy canes. It's a loose leaf tea, so when you go ahead and pour the hot water on it, I guess the little pieces of candy canes dissolve, and it's delicious. It's totally scrumptious, and it just smells very warm and comforting. I forget what else is in here. There are a couple of other little ingredients in here, but it's delicious and very comforting. I love it. So I hope everybody else is cozy and comfy and warm. It's quite chilly right now, so I'm happy to be inside with a warm cup of tea. um, so today, I did actually read a little this week. I know I keep saying I should read. My wife says you may want to marry me because it's been sitting on my shelf, staring at me. And so I'm about halfway through, which means, I think I only read it for about an hour the other night before I got really tired. But I mean, it's not long and it's not complex to get through at all. But it's really sweet and it's a really um, pure, wonderful memoir about love and family. And I've just gotten to the part where Jason Rosenthal shares the the piece that Amy Krauss Rosenthal wrote. You may want to marry my husband. So I've just gotten to that part, and then right after that, she wrote it and then she published it, and I think it was about 10 days later was when she passed. So I'm kind of right about that point. So it's gonna take a shift, but it's just one of those very emotional, heartwarming, this is the good we need in the world kind of read. And I know like cancer and dying is not the good that we need in the world, but just hearing how people support each other and love each other through all of that, and through before that, how people meet and love and care for each other and their families, it's just really nice to read about. And I'm enjoying it so far. It kind of feels like you're listening to a friend just catch you up on life and talk about life. And I like the conversational tone. There are a lot of pictures, handwritten letters, and lists, which is really nice. So I'm enjoying it so far. And I know it was quite popular when it came out. So, um, and then I don't know what I'm gonna read after that. I mean, I say this every time. I don't know what I'm gonna read after that, and I just stare at the books and they stare back at me, and it's not for lack of books to read. It's there are too many. Um, but yeah, this one won't take me much longer to finish. The other one that I am reading is actually my book cook's book for hopefully next week. It just depends on if I get the ingredients for everything. I don't know if any of you have seen, but this is really cool and I love it for teens, and I'll talk about it more next week. It's called Let's Make Ramen. It is in our nonfiction cooking section, but it's almost like a graphic novel, and I know some people have not shoved it, but placed it in with some teen books too, because it's really great for teens. Maybe a little fancy on the ramen side for them, but the fact, but it is easy and it is engaging and it's a graphic novel and it's just really cool. So I may try to use that next week if I can get some of the ingredients. Of course, I'll try to probably replace the ramen noodles with something less wheaty. I don't really need all of the wheat and the grains. We'll see. We shall see. Um, but it's really interesting. I browsed through it a couple weeks ago, and then today when I was in the building, I decided to pick it up again and bring it home because it is definitely getting chilly. And we're doing soup tomorrow, and we're gonna probably do the ramen book next week because that's the mood that I am in, and I hope that everybody appreciates the recipes for warm, comfy, cozy foods, right? um, so yeah, so I have been reading that today this afternoon when I took my little break because I've been working since like 8 o'clock this morning. So I took a little break and I perused that today, which was nice. The other thing, I'm getting really distracted by myself because I filmed today. I filmed next week's candle craft. If you signed up for the candle kit, it smells so good. It smells really good, and it smells like winter. It's great. It smells like cozy winter. Um, Best way to describe it. So, but I think we are. I think we are at capacity for that one. I think, and we have a couple people on the wait list, and I think they're gonna be able to get off of it. But that one filled up really nicely, which is good. So, um, yeah. So those are the two things that I've been reading, and then of course what I've been smelling on myself all day. I keep like sitting down to answer emails, and as my fingers are moving, I keep getting like little wafts of this oil. It's really good. But yeah, so that's what I have been up to in library land. If you have read anything interesting this week or you picked up anything that you're excited about, please share it with me and let me know. I would love to know what everyone is reading. There's not that much. We are now in the part of the year, especially this year, where book releases are few and far between, and then things will definitely pick up again as soon as that calendar rolls over to 2021. But a lot of the things that are being published in these last couple weeks are just some stragglers, things that may be moved. Things like today, the large print edition of former President Obama's memoir was published. And then I have just 3 of note. I'm not really going to get into them, but I know there are a lot of Colleen Hoover fans, and this is a suspense romance. It's called Layla, was released today. Just trying to take a look. And then in nonfiction, for our poli-sci fans, we have Rachel Maddow's Bagman, which has to do with more of the going-ons of Nixon's White House, but not just everybody's like, oh, is it another Watergate book? It's not. It's just so much about all of everything that was happening in the White House at that time. And then another one that I guess I don't know if I heard that much about it initially, but now that it's on its release day, I keep seeing it on the front page of several media outlets. This is called the How Not to Diet Cookbook by Michael Greger. And I remember there was the How Not to Die cookbook. Like Michael Greger, who is a doctor, has several of these New York Times best-selling books about just health and the science of health. The viral website nutritionfacts.org, with the aim to educate the public about what healthy eating looks like and connect that with podcasts, videos, blogs, and the book How Not to Die, which was like an instant bestseller apparently. Anyway, so this is just about like healthy eating and all of the new and recent medical developments with food, and how things like juice cleanses and counting calories and Weight Watchers schemes will not help you. Um, so that sounds like something people want. All of these food and diet and healthy living books are always really popular when they come out, and a lot of them kind of withstand the test of time because people just want to eat healthy and they want to eat delicious food and they just want to take care of themselves. And I mean, I do. I always eat healthy. I've been slinging cookbook suggestions at one of my friends who is looking into some dietary changes for herself. And I'm like, this one and this one. I got this one from the library. I'm cooking from this one tomorrow. And, um, but also just to balance it out, I did have a piece of chocolate before. Um, So, the thing that I really wanted to do today to talk about books is we are always talking about Goodreads on here. I'm always talking about Goodreads. Um, I know we have a lot of patrons who are getting into Goodreads. I've suggested Goodreads to a lot of patrons, um, and and a lot of friends of mine are into Goodreads, and we talked about it last week. The Best Books 2020 Goodreads Choice Awards were listed today. Every year I'm always like, that didn't come out in 2020. And then this year, there are some things I was like, that did not come out in 2020. Surprise, it did. What has this year been? How long has it been? What day is it? But there are a couple, like the young adult one was actually from late 2019, but I think it was published after the voting began, so those books are kind of rolling over. So it's like 2020, a little. So I kind of wanted to share. I know you love Goodreads. You're like my number one. I'm like, oh, we have another patron who loves Goodreads, and she just always is marking her books on there and finding more books to read. Like you're like my testimonial when I talk about Goodreads to other library friends. I'm sure you've taken a look at the Goodreads Choice Awards. I am not surprised by many of these. These are like the big ones that we've seen from this year. But of course, the nice thing about the Goodreads Choice Awards, I've been posting a couple of other 2020 lists on our main Facebook page. I did the NPR one last week, and at the beginning of this week, which was yesterday, it's only Tuesday, I did the New York Times one from the three book reviewers. And so there are definitely many more to come. But the nice thing about the Goodreads Choice ones is that the people who vote on them are, you know, all of us, the people who are actually reading and using Goodreads, the fans and the casual consumers, not like just industry professionals, which is really nice. Not surprisingly, there are a lot of things that were really big the second half of the year because I think that sometimes we have tunnel vision because so much goes on in our lives, especially this year. So it's like, oh, I just read that one. It was really good. I remember it. I'm going to vote for it. But the nice thing is that when you click on each category, it's not just like, okay, this was the winner and this was second place. There are so many books, and you get to see how the voting went across all of them. And so you can kind of see what's been popular and what's not. And even the ones that have like the least number of votes are still things that are definitely worth a glance because they made it pretty far. Um, so I do want to share some of those. Not surprised, this one has been getting a lot of fans now that it is out. Matt Haig's The Midnight Library won the category for fiction. That one came out pretty recently. Frederick Bachman, Anxious People, American Dirt, that one surprises me. Such a Fun Age, My Dark Vanessa, The Glass Hotel, Transcendent Kingdom, The Girl with the Louding Voice, Dear Edward, Big Summer, Writers and Lovers, which is on Hoopla, If I Had Your Face, and it goes on and on and on. Oh, there are a lot of good suggestions on this one. A lot of good suggestions. I mean, I know a lot of people were clamoring to read American Dirt, but I figured the Goodreads community might not vote for American Dirt, but it's there. Um, Let's see, what's the next category? Is mystery and thriller. Not a surprise. This one has had a long holds list. The Guest List by Lucy Foley. Oh, The Sundown Motel. Yep. Oh, Alyssa Cole's mystery thriller When No One Is Watching. A lot of people know Alyssa Cole from her romance novels. Really nice to see her branching into a new genre where she can gain more fans. The Searcher, which recently came out and has been super popular. The Wives, One by One, Ruth Ware. Everybody loves Ruth Ware. Harlan Coben is on here. The newest Louise Penny is on here. What else? Oh, the one that I was talking about that like was a little bit of a sleeper hit, Confessions on the 745. That sounded really interesting. That one's on here too, and that one didn't come out that long ago either. I liked American Murder, but I didn't vote for it. I will be honest. I have not read American Dirt, but I've read all the articles about American Dirt. But as a librarian, it is not my job to tell you what to read or what not to read or what to like or what not to like. But when people ask what's the deal, I can provide the references. But also, I do think that it's good to read everything, even controversial things, because we need to just know what's going on and we need to make our own opinions and we need to learn about the stories behind things, right? So when people say, like, should I read it? I'm like, yeah, if you want to, why not? It just makes you a more informed, well-rounded human being, right? Let's see, what's next? Oh, historical fiction, no surprise, The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, which everybody's clamoring for. The Jane Austen Society, oh, that's good. That one's on there. That one's the next one. Oh yeah, I'm seeing a lot of, we have a lot of historical fiction fans at the library. In our town, you all love history and historical fiction. It seems to be the big thing. Mysteries are pretty big too, but I'm looking at this list here on Goodreads, and they're things that I hear people talking about and asking me about all the time. The Book of Lost Friends, The Henna Artist, A Long Petal of the Sea, Alice Hoffman's Magic Lessons, Emma Donohue's Pull of the Stars, Book of Lost Names, The Book of Longings, Utopia Avenue was really big when that came out earlier this year. Yep, definitely a lot of things that I've seen our town specifically asking for, which I love. Yeah, so a lot of people put American Dirt as like their, like book of the month or book club book, and then all of a sudden some stuff started coming out about it, and people were like, "Oh, should we retract that?" But again, like I said, you know, you can't undo recommending a book, and it just kind of makes people want to read it more when there's something going on about it. But like I said, especially in the case of this book, it just makes you a more informed human being to read about what's going on surrounding it and then to read it as well. Yeah, the Book of Lost Names is definitely your kind of book for sure. I feel like that is definitely for you, that book. And it was very, very popular, like enduringly popular. Um, Jane Austen Society too, and of course The Vanishing Half. Yeah. The henna artist was one, especially during stay-at-home orders. I had people asking about the henna artist every single day. That one for sure. What else? What else? What else do we have? Fantasy is not huge in our town. With the kids, it is. Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. One. I forgot that this was not a young adult one. This is one of her new adult ones. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue was a huge runaway hit when it came out. Did you hear her? I don't know if you can see her. It's a little dark in here, but she's like right here, causing a stir. Brandon Sanderson series, very popular. The Once and Future Witches, which is new. A Deadly Education. There are some ones in here that are kind of just like enduringly popular. There are 2 Jim Butcher ones on this list. Can I help you? But also, like I said, fantasy's not huge in our town, so when it goes for me trying to figure out which fantasy titles I'm going to add to our collection every year, these are the kinds of lists that I look at because I like to see what actual people are reading and suggesting, not just reviewers and journalists. So I like to see that. Hello. Um, Romance. Oh, I didn't even take a look at the romance list yet. Jennifer L. Armentrout's From Blood and Ash is the number one. Oh, Beach Read. I read Beach Read. In 5 years was one of my top reads, I think, of the year, and I've been recommending it to a lot of people who are asking for like, a really good read, something with a little romance but a little different. I love that's by Rebecca Steele. That was one of my favorite books that I read during our at home time. Colleen Hoover, not surprised, but yeah, in 5 years, one of my favorite books of the year. Boyfriend Material, Take a Hint, Danny Brown, One to Watch, Party of Two, You Had Me at Hola, The Switch, Anna Holidays, which I just read, and everybody knows I love Christina Lauren. Um, Again, another one that I always recommend, Christina Lauren, for romance, contemporary romance. Let's see what else is on this list. Science fiction, another one that's kind of hard. We don't have a lot of huge science fiction fans, but I know that sci-fi has a very robust fandom, so it's why I'm always a little surprised. But Christopher Paolini, To Sleep in a Sea of Stars was the winner in that category. I'm not surprised. Not at all. I don't know all of these. Again, I'm not that familiar. It's one of those things that I don't order a lot for our community because it's not requested a lot, but I'm always trying to familiarize myself more. Harold the Ninth, Network Effect. This one I know pretty well and was quite popular when it came out. A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor by Hank Green. The New Wilderness. Which other ones? I'm trying to think. The Mother Code, I remember. Agency, yeah, when Agency came out, that one had some good reviews too. What else? What else? I love looking through all the categories. I love seeing if like the things that I think are going to be popular, or that the reviewers think are going to be popular, are popular. And I love seeing when that does happen. And I also like seeing when there's something that they're like, oh, this is not that great, becomes really popular. Because it doesn't matter what a reviewer thinks, it matters what the actual readers think, right? Mexican Gothic was the winner for Best Horror by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Stephen King, If It Bleeds, The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I have seen a lot about that one. I have not read it, but I love the description. It's by Grady Hendrix. Fried green tomatoes and steel magnolias meet Dracula in this southern-flavored supernatural thriller set in the 90s about a woman's book club that must protect its suburban community from a mysterious and handsome stranger who turns out to be a blood-sucking fiend. I think that I've seen a lot about that one. Again, not so much from professional reviewers, but just from people, like real live people. And it sounds really interesting. Right now, I'm gonna put that on my want to read list. Plain Bad Heroines, Guillermo del Toro's The Hollow Ones, Mallory, which is the sequel to Bird Box. I don't really like horror myself. I get scared too easily. And especially as a reader, when you read horror, I feel, because especially if you are one of those readers who really dives into your book and totally imagines everything entirely, and you get really lost in a book, a horror novel is one of the worst things ever. Case in point, I love Stephen King's It, and I don't like the new movie. I watched the first half. I didn't see the second half because I really didn't like the first half. And I know some parts are supposed to be more faithful to the book, and a lot of it, like, I just didn't like the style. I didn't like the new horror style that's a lot of like CGI and jump scares, whereas the 1990 like miniseries with Tim Curry was very psychological and like really gets more into your head. And I remember watching the movie as how old was I? 11, as an 11-year-old, 10-year-old, 11-year-old, and being like, oh, this is kind of scary. And then I read the book when I was like 12 or 13, and I always read way above my age level just because I was a reader. Nightmares for Forever. Despite that, that book has a prized place on my bookshelf, and there is a Tim Curry Pennywise doll staring down at me from the top of my bookshelf right now. So like, when you're one of those really imaginative readers, I feel like horror is the worst place to be, unless you like that kind of thing. Um, no surprise, former President Obama's A Promised Land is at the top of memoir autobiography. Untamed is next. Alex Trebek, All Boys Aren't Blue. Mary L. Trump's Too Much Never Enough. Jessica Simpson's Open Book. That has been so popular at the library. Everybody wants to read that. Mariah Carey's one. Yeah, there are a lot of good suggestions on here, actually. There are a lot of good ones on here. What else? Nonfiction, no surprise. Stamped Racism, Anti-Racism, and You is right there at the top. Rage, Bob Woodward, Hood Feminism, Clanlands, which just came out and has been really popular. You have to stay down here. Oh, you can't see her. She's like right here. She's right off camera. My coffee table's really messy, so we're not going. Why? I did another puzzle. I have another project that I'm working on the table. It's a mess. She hates the mess. She loves to steal puzzle pieces. Okay. Let's see. Humor is always a mixed bag. Wow, No Thank You, which I really enjoyed. Wow, No Thank You. A Very Punchable Face. The winner of that was Strange Planet by Nathan W. Pyle, which had a huge following, has a huge following on social media, and it's actually really cute and funny. It's these aliens who kind of come to Earth, and they sort of learn all the correct, they learn about things, but they don't use the correct terms. They use very like technical terms, and it's actually very humorous, but also relatable. And so that one won that category. Oh, Christopher Moore is on here. Shakespeare for Squirrels. Allyssa, Colin Quinn. There are some good ones on there. Let's see, I'll do a couple more. History and Biography, Science and Technology. Modern Comfort Food by Ina Garten, like, just came out and won that one. I mean, it's a delicious looking cookbook. I did cook from it a couple months ago on Book Cooks, and I know everybody loves Ina. Actually, every time her cookbooks come out, they are hot demand. So I guess I'm not surprised, but... And then for a debut novel, Such a Fun Age, which has been so popular. And then I love looking through the ones for kids and young adults. Clap When You Land. That one won. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Felix Ever After. One of Us Is Next, which is the sequel to One of Us Is Lying, which has been enduringly popular. Maureen Johnson wrapped up the Truly Devious series with A Hand on the Wall. You Should See Me in a Crown. Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. Tweet Cute, The Gravity of Us, an American Royals novel by Catherine McGee. Majesty, The Inheritance Games. I was not sure if The Inheritance Games was going to be popular when I read the review on that one, that young adult book. I did not know. And I have this little, I kind of keep a little list of things that I'm like, maybe I'll order it because it sounded really interesting, but the reviews were interesting, but like weren't totally convincing, and then the demand for it wasn't that big, but I kept going back to it saying it sounds kind of interesting though. So it's interesting to see that people definitely did recognize it this year. And the young adult has a fantasy and science fiction section because it's, I mean, young adult is so broad. And so The Queen of Nothing is the one that was technically released about a year ago by Holly Black. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, a Cassandra Clare, Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer, which I keep forgetting that that's a Twilight book for young adults because I feel like all of the fans of Twilight are not young adults anymore. They are my age and older. And and I don't know. I mean, some of them are. I have seen some of our actual teenagers reading and checking out the Twilight books. So it is still like moderately popular for teenagers. It's not huge. The Hunger Games is still huge, for sure, and so is Divergent. Um, but every time I think of Midnight Sun, I'm like, oh, it's probably an adult ordering it. Um, Children of Virtue and Vengeance, Cemetery Boys, another one of my favorite reads for this year. I reviewed it on an episode of Teen Reads, but Aiden Thomas made this wonderful, wonderful book, and I am constantly telling people about their book all the time. I am constantly like, this book, I want to live in this world. I loved it. It made me feel the fuzzies, and I just loved it. I love Cemetery Boys. Girl, Serpent, Thorn, which is on my bookshelf. A Song of Wraiths and Ruin. Legendborn. Cinderella is Dead. That one sounds really interesting. It's a Cinderella retelling. Marie Lu. Oh, there's a lot in here. All the Stars and Teeth. Ray Bearer. That was good too. The Shadows Between Us. I actually don't know that one. I just love going through all these. So my suggestion for everyone who is tuning in tonight or at a later date or looking for book suggestions is to go onto Goodreads. And again, this is my plug, and I'm just a librarian. Make yourself a Goodreads account. Go to this best books of 2020 list. If you have no idea where to start with your reading, aside from filling out the book match form on the top of our website, or emailing myself or Miss Marie, or asking when you call the library for book suggestions, if you really have no idea where to start, make yourself a Goodreads account. Go through this list, and as you are going through the list, you can actually click on the little arrows, little drop downs, and say, I want to read this book. And it makes the list for you, and every time you go into your account, you can keep track of all of the books that you thought were interesting, that you want to read, and then as you read them, you say that you're reading them so you can keep track of how long you're reading it. You can provide updates to any of your friends who have Goodreads accounts, and then you say you finished it, and then you have a whole record of how many books you have read and what you've read. People are always asking us, how do I keep track of books that I have read? There is a way to do it. You have to ask us, but it has to be done in person. So right now, we can't do that. You can do it from your own account. You could call us and ask, but the easiest way to do it, like, we can't do it for you, so it has to be something you do on your own account. But the easiest way is just make a Goodreads account. It's so easy. What else? Oh, middle grades. Rick Riordan, Not Surprised, Trials of Apollo. The one and only Bob. Ugh, everybody knows I love Catherine Applegate. Jacqueline Woodson, The School of Good and Evil. Oh, Erin and Shada Kelly. Yep. The list of things that will not change. There's some good. Oh, Sarah Pennypacker. I didn't read that one this year yet. Here in the Real World, I love Sarah Pennypacker. There's some good ones on here. And then the last one. The last category that we have, picture books. The top one is Anti-Racist Baby, Just Like Me, The Cool Bean. This is a really fun series by John Jory. The Cool Bean, The Bad Seed, all those. Oh, Jimmy Kimmel's The Serious Goose. Did not know anything about that. This book is Gray, Sweet Child O' Mine, I Am Every Good Thing, The Seed of Compassion, The Oldest Student Bird Hugs. Oh, Julian at the Wedding, Bedtime Bonnet. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. There is a coronavirus book on here for children. Grandma's Garden, Think Outside the Box, The World Needs More Purple People, Dan Brown's Wild Simp. We Will Rock for Our Classmates. Yep. Dewdrop, that looks really cute. We Are Water Protectors. So those are also good places to look for if you're looking for gifts for kids who you know are readers and you don't know. Check out the Goodreads list as well. Okay, so that was a lot. That was a lot of books. But I highly suggest going through the Goodreads Best Books of 2020. I will put it on our Facebook page, on our regular feed tomorrow. So if you are unfamiliar with the website, you can just click right there and go to it. Again, I highly suggest for all of our voracious readers, our insatiable readers here in Washington Township, go check out Goodreads, because yeah, reading is big. Reading is big with all of our grown-ups and our kids, which is really nice to see. And we like to hear about it. You tell us about it. We are constantly hearing about the things that you love to read and the things that you're looking forward to. And Goodreads is kind of like just another fun way to connect with. We have a Goodreads account, which is not our website. It's linked on our website, I believe. And you can send us suggestions. We don't always update it that much, but you can send us suggestions, or like comment on something, or send us a book, and we do see it, and it's really fun for us to look at. So yeah, I do suggest that. I will be sharing that list with you all tomorrow on our feed, so you can take a look at that, and of course some other best of 2020 lists as I go through them, so that you can see what's new and coming. And like up and coming authors, that is. There is even like a debut author list. So that's it for me. I'm going to go finish. My wife said that you may want to marry me. I'm going to finish my tea, which is probably now cooled down, and I'm just going to go relax for the night. And that's my hope for the rest of you, that you all have a relaxing and enjoyable night. My cat has fallen back to sleep. I hope that we all may sleep and rest so easily. And don't forget to join me for Book Cooks tomorrow. I am making pizza soup. You'll see. It is a dairy-free pizza soup, but you can definitely top it with a heaping mound of grated cheese if you so wish. But it should be really, really delicious and perfect for this cold weather that we are having this week. And for those of you who love children's books and picture books, or you have little ones in your life, in your house, or relatives, whatever, what have you, Miss Marie and I are starting a new series of readings that we're doing on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram called Holiday Reads, and that starts, I believe that starts on the 10th. That starts on the 10th for the first night of Hanukkah. And so every night at 7 p.m., kind of like a little bedtime story, we are going to read a winter holiday book, things about winter, some holiday stories, ones that you may already know and ones that you might not know that you may grow to love. So don't miss those. They will be all over the place, and we will make sure to, once those start going up, we'll post the playlist on our website so you don't lose track of it. Yes, and then after the holidays, we'll do some more of the 100 books every kindergartner should know. We'll do some more of those. So we have some fun and exciting things coming up. Also on Thursday, I will be decorating cookies on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Some snowflakes, snowmen, and trees, so you can see if you are somebody who likes to bake cookies this time of year. I don't know if we'll be sharing cookies with other people this year, but I mean, I'll at least give some to my parents and my brother and sister-in-law, I'm sure. And then, like I said, the candle craft. So yeah, we still have plenty of things going on this December, so don't miss any of it. All right, that is it for me tonight. This was a long one, but I really wanted to just briefly share the best books from the Goodreads Choice Awards, because it's just one of my favorite places to find book suggestions. But that's it, so I'm going to say goodnight to everyone, and I will see you all soon. All right, bye.